Hi, so everyone, welcome to Kol Shira, partners with Breslov.org and Yeshiva Ter Shimon. Okay, Baruch Hashem, we get to meet again, and I thank everyone for joining, and everyone that will listen to Mirz Hashem on YouTube, all our listeners. Okay, so this is Parshat Korach. It's a very difficult parsha, right? It's a very difficult parsha to understand that this fella, this guy Korach, was really a great person. He was such a great person. He was in charge of carrying the Aron, right? Not a small job at all. And the Chazal tell us that he was on the verge of becoming the Levi Hagadol. Instead of like we have a Kohen Hagadol, so he was supposed to become the Levi Hagadol. And why isn't there a Levi Hagadol? Because no one else was able to do the job. He blew it, and no one else was able to do the job. So no Levi. Okay. Where did this whole thing come from? From to flare up against Moshe and Aharon at this time? Where did it come from? So the Medrash says that Korach's wife was not a very nice lady. He didn't have a good wife. And what happened? He came home last week's parsha. We know that it was 2 weeks ago that the Levium were sanctified. Remember, they passed a razor on their entire bodies, and then they were lifted up and they were waved. Every Levi was picked up and waved like a lulav, right? All of them were waved like a lulav. And he came back home, and he was bald. Now, how do you say bald in Hebrew? Exactly. Correct, exactly. What's his name? Korach. Interesting. It's interesting that his name, was this really his name? Who knows? Or the Torah just gives him the name now? I don't know. But it's interesting. That's his name. It's a very interesting thing. Now, in the parsha, we see that there was another what's his name? When Korach comes against Moshe, he brings along with him. It says Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahos ben Levi Dasam va'Ariram, right? Bnei Eliyav. V'ayin ben Peles b'nei Ruvain. Now, Ayin ben Peles, you see, his name is written in the first pasuk, but you don't see him anymore. You don't see his name mentioned again. What happened? He had a good wife. Ayin ben Peles had a good wife. What was it? What? And he was a wife that Chazal say that she helped build the house. What did she do? She gave Ayin ben Peles a little bit of wine to drink. He got a little bit drunk. And she told him, she said, listen, what are you going to get involved? What are you getting involved in this quarrel here? At the end of the day, whether Korach wins or Moshe wins, you're still going to be Ayin ben Peles. You're not going to be a leader yourself. Nothing's going to change for you. So why do you have to get involved in this? Why do you need to be involved in this? So what she did was, she gave him the wine. He got a little tishikit. He got a little bit drunk. She went out of the tent, and she did something that would never have been done at that time. She uncovered her hair. She uncovered her hair. Whoa. These were still great people. And they would never think of a lady going out with uncovered hair. It's like it's an ever, right? It would be almost like maybe you would think today a lady went out unclothed, chas v'sholem, right? That's all right. So the question is, why did she do that? She did that because she knew that Korach and his guys were going to come to get Ayin ben Peles, get her husband. But if they saw that she was standing outside the tent with her uncovered hair, they wouldn't go near her.
No.
Look at this. It's unbelievable. They're going against Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah's Moshe, but yet you see how the tznius means so much. Unbelievable. It's fascinating when you read the Midrash and you understand what happened. So she does this, and then he doesn't, and he's saved. He's spared. He's spared. Unbelievable. He's spared. Now, there's many things that happen here. So he comes upon Moshe, all right, and he says, "Vayikalu al Moshe v'al ha'ar v'yomer aleim rav lachem ki kol ha'eda kulam kedoshim." You have so much. You have so much. Now let's understand. Korach was Moshe and Aaron's cousin. They were cousins. He wasn't just a stam guy, right? He was his cousin. They were cousins, first cousins, all right? Umadua tisnasu al kahal Hashem. In other words, he's saying everyone's holy. Everyone's holy. All the Jewish people are holy. What does it mean they're all holy? They were all at Har Sinai. We all saw that we had a nevuah of seeing HaKadosh. We all saw that. Saw HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're all great. Why are you greater than us? Right? He introduced the original thing of, I guess that's how communism was, right? Communism, all equal except for the guy that's on top, right? Everyone's equal except for the guy on top, right? Everyone has to be equal, right? Is that right, Rabbi Yehuda? Right? Everyone's equal except for the ruler.
Right.
Unbelievable, Mamish. It's fascinating, but he started it. It wasn't that guy Karl Marx. He started it first. He came up with this idea first. Unbelievable. Well, it didn't work out too well. Now, so he tells this to Moshe, right? So what's the next pasuk? Moshe says, "Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav." Moshe hears this. He falls down. He's baffled by this whole thing. He's thinking to himself, I spent a week arguing with Hashem by the sneh, right, by that burning bush. I don't want this job. I don't want it. He's fighting with him. He says, I don't even want it. I don't want this job. And now he's telling me that I took the job. And wait a second, didn't he see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu invited me up to Shemayim? I went up to heaven, and I came down with the luchos? So do you think, what does he want from me? What does he want from me? And then he said, wait a second, didn't you just see now with the Mishkan, right? Nothing was going on. When Aharon walked into the Mishkan, everything started. It became animated. Everything started happening when Aharon came in. Didn't you see this? What do you want? What do you want, Korach? So what does he say? Vayidaber el Korach v'el kol adosei. So Moshe Rabbeinu now says to Korach in the dilemma, Boiker yodeya Hashem es asher loy v'es hakodesh hikriv elav v'es asher yivcha by yakriv elav. So what does he say? He tells him in the morning we'll figure this out. We'll figure out in the morning who's who. What was the difference? What's going to happen in the morning? Well, how about this? We know every morning the mun fell, right? The mun fell every morning. And we know that Chazal tell us that if you were a tzaddik, so the mun fell, you got a package right at your door. You didn't have to go anywhere. You opened your tent up right away. Your mun was there. You had your provision for the day. If someone wasn't a big tzaddik, if someone wasn't a tzaddik, so then they had to go and get their mun. Right? Like sometimes Amazon brings the package to you. Sometimes you have to go pick it up from someplace, right? They don't bring it to your house, right? I'm just giving you an example, right? Now, so what happened? So Moshe Rabbeinu is telling him, hey, you know what? In the morning, we'll see where your mun falls, and we'll see where my mun falls. And let the mun be the deciding factor as to who's the tzaddik. But what happened in the morning? The mun didn't fall. There was no mun that day. Why not? There was a machlekes. There was argument. There was strife. There was a quarrel going on. Machlekes doesn't, you can't get them, you don't have mun when there's a machlekes. The Gemara says that if there's a machlekes going on, it could be doicha meya parnoses. A person it could push away 100 different business opportunities, an argument. Now, let's know. I mean, real business opportunities They're not easy to come by, a real deal. And if they do come by, you don't want to push it off, right? You don't want to push it off. Now, and then another thing, let's understand. Now, let's understand really where Korach was coming from. Now, Korach says he's arguing with Moshe. Now, what does he want? Obviously, he wants to become the leader, right? He wants the leadership. But he wouldn't be able to become the leader, because we know when it came to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and he was arguing with Rabbi Yeshua, right? And he took over, he lost his Nasiah. They took away his Nasiahs from Yeshua ben Gamliel. They took it away because of Rabbi Yeshua. They couldn't give it to Rabbi Yeshua. Why? Because he was involved in the argument. He was involved in that argument with Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. He was involved because he was involved. He can't take over he can't get it. So now Korach, he's arguing, but even if he would win, he can't get it because he's arguing. So how can he get it? And we know the way it is. Leadership only comes to someone that doesn't take it for himself. It's given to him. Korach wants to take it for himself. The whole thing wasn't going to work. But we know when a person gets fahitz, he gets angry, right? A person gets angry, he doesn't think clearly. Right? He doesn't think clearly. Now, another thing that we learned a few years ago, I'll just remind you, that we said, why did Korach decide to do this now? Why did he decide to come and make this macha, this argument with Moshe and Aharon now? Why did he wait till now? So some say, Reb Nosson brings it down that last week's parsha we had the spies, and after that, Hakadosh Baruch Hu said, now, because you were gone for 40 days, you'll be in the desert for 40 years, and no one's going to go into Eretz Yisrael. So Korach was thinking that we're going into Israel right away, and because we're going to go into Israel right away, even though Moshe didn't give me the leadership, I didn't get leadership. I'm not a nasi. He didn't get anything special in his own eyes. Although he had, although he had an amazing job where he was carrying the Aron. That's not a stam thing, right? He was carrying the ark. Korach had the job to carry the ark. That was very, very special that he had such an opportunity to carry the ark. That's amazing that he had that. But he wanted more. He wanted more, and that's the problem. When a person wants more, and you're not semeach bechelkai. Eza washer semeach bechelkai. We know that Korach was a very wealthy man. He was very wealthy. He had 3 donkeys carrying the keys. Just carrying the keys to his treasure boxes. He had treasure boxes, right? And you hear this only here. He had 3 donkeys carrying just the keys, not the treasure boxes, the keys to the treasure boxes. Donkeys can carry a nice amount of weight, right? Amazing, right? This man was a very, very wealthy man. But he winds up underground. He winds up underground. I don't remember where I saw the story, but I remember the story that there was an Arab. It's a Gemara somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but I was thinking about it today. I couldn't find it, but okay. I remember the story that there was an Arab tour guide that wanted to take out, I don't remember who, he had a special trip to show him where Korach is buried. Wow, they wanted to see that. So they went with this Arab. They came to this place, and then the Arab asked them to give him a piece of fabric, something of fabric. He gave it to him. He put it by the ground, and it burnt. It got singed. It got burnt. So they said to him, "Okay, so maybe there's a hot spring down there. Maybe there's I don't know what. But how do you know that's Korach?" So the Arab said to him, "Why don't you put your ear down to the ground, put your ear to the ground and listen." So they did that. They put their ear down to the ground, and they heard Moshe emes v'sayrasei emes. Right? It's not a song that was made up by anyone. It's a song by Korach. Unbelievable. Most people don't know that. They don't know that song is coming. That's what Korach is saying. Korach is saying that. And they say that really the Torah says that the children of Korach were also swallowed up. But if you see in Tehillim, it says Mizmah Livnei Korach. You have a Tehillim Livnei Korach, right? And then you have Shmuel Hanavi came from Korach. Shmuel Hanavi came from Korach, right? So how did he have the? So they say like this: when the kids fell in, they fell on some kind of ledge. They didn't fall straight in. They fell on a ledge. They made tshuva, and therefore they were able to come out. And they were able to come. That's how we had the children. And we have the Tehillim from the Mizmah of Korach, and we have that. Okay, so those are just a few things outside. Does anyone else want to say anything on the parsha that you saw? Anything else? Any points? No. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at something from Rav Nosson. A beautiful lesson here from Rav Nosson on this Vayikach Korach. Now, really, what did he take? It says Vayikach Korach, but it doesn't say what he took. Right? It doesn't say what he took. Vayikach, he took something. What did he take? What does Rashi say? He took a talus. He took a talus that was full of techelas. So anyway, this wife of Korach, that was not happy that her husband was mistreated, and she was actually very upset about it. And because she was upset about it, she said to him, last week's parsha ended off with the Parshat Tzitzis, right? Last week's parsha, we ended off with the rights of Surah. We had the mitzvah of Tzitzis in the parsha, in Shlach. So right away, so it says that why do you say psil techeles v'ayilachem letzitzis? Psil techeles, right? So you can have a white garment, you can have strings, and you put on there one blue string. Psil techeles, a string. A string. Okay, and so what does he do? He comes up and he makes a kal v'chayim. If I have a garment, the 4-garment garment, that I can put on it one string, one psil techeles, one blue string. That'll remind me of the sea. It'll remind me of the heavens. It'll remind me of the kisei hakavod. So if I have a whole beged, I make the whole garment. It's made out of techeles. Every string in the garment is made out of techeles. It'll certainly remind me. If I see the whole thing, I don't have to look at the corners. I'll see the whole garment. So yes, Moshe Rabbeinu. What's with this? What's with this? Moshe Rabbeinu said, no. It still has to have tzitzis. And then he asked him about a mezuzah. He said, if you have a house that's filled with svarim, right? He could have had a house that had a few sifrei Torah in there, had a shas in there, right? Whatever, right? Had svarim in there. Does it need to have a mezuzah? Moshe Rabbeinu said, yes, it needs a mezuzah. You can have all the svarim you want in your house, but your house is not gonna potter the house from having the mezuzah. You have to have the mezuzah on the door. And again, the mezuzah and the tzitzis are there to help you remember. Right? It's always there to help you to remember. Laman tizkiru, asisim is kol mitzvosai. Right? And you remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the mezuzah also. Right? You're supposed to remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. He's always there with you in your house. Wherever you go, you always have Hashem with you. That's the mitzvah of Sechira, to remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, good. Now, so he argues about these 2 points. Do I need to have a whole blue talus? And it doesn't have strings on it, but it's all tcheles, and it needs strings. And do I need a mezuzah on my house with all the svarim in it? Yes, it does. It needs a mezuzah. he started making fun. Let's see where Rav Nosson says now. Amar B'Sein Azal, Shemachleikis Korach Haya Sheshah, Talis Shekulei Techelis, Chayeves Betzitzis, like we said, if you have a talis, Chazal say that what if you had a talis that was all blue, does it have to have tzitzis? Amar Leihein. Moshe Rabbeinu says yes. Hiskil Misachei Golav, he started making fun. Korach started making fun. Ma talis shel min acher chut echad shel techeles pitoira. If you have a talis that can be from whatever material, and you put on it the 4 strings, and you put on it, and one's a psil techeles, it's good. Kal v'chaymer, he says. So if the kal v'chaymer is if you can put just 1 string of techeles on there, and it's good. Kal v'chaymer, it has to be. It's okay that you don't have to have tzitzis. V'chein shal bayis malei svarim chayev mezuzah. And Moshe Rabbeinu said yes. He said hein. Again, he said yes. You have a house filled with svarim. You still have to put on a mezuzah. Ki Korach kafa beika, because Korach he was a total heretic. Uvemes chalak ala Torah kula. He was arguing on the entire Torah. He was not arguing on the Torah shebeksav. He was arguing on the Torah shebal peh. Right? He's arguing on the Torah shebal peh. But if you argue on the Torah shebal peh, you're still considered a heretic. V'lo rotza lahaven sheyicholim lahamshich ashkachosai v'chiyusai aleinu ayidei kiyum haTorah v'amitzvos. He didn't want to believe that you need the Torah and the mitzvahs to bring hashkacha upon you from Hashem. That Hashem is upon you, Hashem is watching over you, Hashem is taking care of you. Right? Hashkacha is Hashem. He didn't believe that by me doing the mitzvahs, completing and fulfilling mitzvahs, I have a special watch from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching me. Because I'm fulfilling the mitzvahs. I'm accomplishing things in all the worlds. We have no idea when we do a mitzvah how far-reaching it is to all the worlds, how high up it goes. We have no idea. We pray and therefore he made fun. He poked fun at the nuances of the mitzvah. That this is how you have to do it. Listen. I'll tell you like this. You can have a cipher that writes the parshias for the tefillin, right? You can have a batim machi. You can have the guy that makes the houses, the boxes for the tefillin, right? You can have the straps. And you can put them together, but if you don't put them together, you don't put the parshias in the right order in the boxes, and you don't write it in the right order, you don't have any tefillin. You don't have tefillin. Only if you fulfill all of the rules on how you put together a pair of tefillin, will you have tefillin. But then if you write the parsha of tefillin, and you leave one letter out, and you put everything together, but there's one letter missing, you don't have tefillin. This is what he didn't understand. Korach didn't understand that. And he made fun of that. We have all the Reformed rabbis, the conservative rabbis, they're writing their different perushim. Right? They write their different explanations on Torah. But it's not founded in Chazal. It's not founded in anything. It's their own ideas. It's their own ideas that they concoct, but it's not Torah ideas. It's based on secular knowledge. It's based on they going to the university. It's based on all of these things. It's not based on the Torah. And because it's not based on the Torah, it's all foolish. It's foolishness. They don't want to believe that a mitzvah is achdus with Hashem, has unity with Hashem. You're unifying yourself with HaKadosh Baruch Hu while you're doing a mitzvah. That's what we're accomplishing, right? We're accomplishing a mitzvah. We're unifying ourselves with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Include yourself to be one with Hashem. B'chol mitzvah. U'mitzvah. Hayleches v'oila b'chol ha'olamais ad ein sof ein tachlis. And every mitzvah goes up to all of the worlds. It ascends to all of the worlds. There's no limit, there's no end to how far, when we do a mitzvah, how far the mitzvah goes. That they're grinding their teeth, they're trying to figure out the pratim mitzvahs. They can't find it. They can give you reasons, they'll tell you, honor your parents. Well, sure, it's a nice thing, your parents, they take care of you. You have to take care of them, right? It's nice. It's a nice thing, right? Be nice to your parent, right? Be nice and give charity. Oh, charity's nice. You have to be kind-hearted. You have to be kind-hearted. But they'll tell you anything, but it's the mitzvah that Hashem wants you to do. They'll come up with all these ideas of mitzvahs. And this is what Korach was doing. Korach didn't want to believe in the Torah that Moshe was teaching him, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught Moshe Rabbeinu over the 40 days and he was up in Shemayim. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught Moshe Torah Sheba'al Peh while he was up in Shemayim. אבל בפרטי דיני המצווס מזה, ואינם יכולים למצוא בהם טעם. ועל כן באמס מצלויצצים מדברי רבי Seinazal. And therefore they make fun of Chazal. They make fun of the Gemara. They don't need the Gemara, these guys. They don't need it. They understand it better. They'll tell you the Pshat. They'll read the Chumash, and they'll tell you the Pshat. But they won't. They'll tell you a Pshat that doesn't make any sense. Al came back, it's like, okay, the Kaifrim b'chol Torah v'yoyse b'Torah Sheba'al Peh, and they object to all the entire Torah, especially the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Ve'ein tzrichen laharach b'genus datam hara. I don't have to talk more about this idea. Rav Nosson says, I think you got it. I think you got this. Al came Korach shenafa l'kfiras elu. Therefore, Korach that fell to this kfira, that fell to this heresy. To believe that he understands the time of the mitzvah. He understands the mitzvah better. He asked Moshe a question. He knew Moshe was going to tell him that it still needs tzitzis. And that's why it was a loaded question. He wanted to attack Moshe. And he wanted to make fun of Moshe and the Torah. Oh, but it didn't work out like that. He's saying, like we said, he's screaming, Moshe emes v'Torah emes. That's what he's doing now. He realized. Is light saints, and therefore he poked fun with the pratim of the mitzvah. He didn't want to believe that there's hidden things, the real reasons, the real tamei mitzvahs. And that the real reasons why we're doing the mitzvahs, like Chazal tell us, that you could believe. That's what we're supposed to believe. But not what he didn't believe in Chazal. He didn't believe in the Torah Sheba'al Peh. L'mokim shenoigim. Al kein tzrichen l'kayim ha-mitzvahs b'derech zeh daika k'may shetziva Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom b'protius. We have to do the mitzvahs. We have to do the mitzvahs exactly how Moshe Rabbeinu taught us to do the mitzvahs. That's what we have to do. We have to do the mitzvahs exactly like he said. L'kayim is b'derech zeh daika k'may shetziva Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom b'protius lisleis hatzitzes al kanfei ha-beged daika. To put, not to make a beged only of techeles, but to take the beged, you take your garment, and that's a four-cornered garment, and you hang on the four corners, 4 strings, and you fold them over, and you make the 10 knots, and you make the twists, right? You make the twists 7, 11, 7, 8, 11, and 13, right? You make your twist. Everyone has the different ways to do it. The winds. But everyone agrees that there's always 10. The knots are the same. Everyone agrees on the knots. All right, but you have to make the tzitzis the way you have to make them. Even if you take the beged and you'll hold the tzitzis in front of your eyes, You don't accomplish the mitzvah of wearing tzitzis. Right? You look at it says a re'isa ma'isam. Okay, I'll hang them up on the chandelier in my house, right? I'll sit at the table. I'll have them hanging from the chandelier. I see the tzitzis. I see them. That's not the mitzvah. You want to hang up the tzitzis, you can hang them up on the ceiling. No problem. But you're not accomplishing the mitzvah. Now, here, next one. Let's say it. You take tzitzis from your head to your toe. You wrap yourself in tzitzis from your head to your toe. Look at what he says here. Amazing. You're not going to accomplish the mitzvah of tzitzis. You'll be doing something, but you won't get the mitzvah of tzitzis. Adarabah. Hu kaifer, umechorev, umegadev, as Torah's Moshe. He's objecting. He's objecting to the Torah of Moshe. When you do, if a person does that, chas v'shalom, they're objecting to the whole Torah. Ki kol imras elaikai tzirufa bechinas imras Hashem amoros tahoros mezukak shivasayim. Right? David HaMelech writes in Tehillim that Hashem's words are so pure. They were purified 7 times 7. Right? Mezukak Shivasayim, 7 times 7, 49 times. V'chol ha-mitzvahs tzirufim u'mezukakim me'ita yizbarach shetrichim l'kaimim ba'ofen. We have to believe that the mitzvahs are all coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Moshe Rabbeinu taught it to us. And we have to believe that mamish, that all the mitzvahs are mamish from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeh daika kefi divrei tareseinu hakadosh v'al kein Korach shekafa bazeh. Therefore, Korach that was kaifer, he objected to this whole idea. V'al kein shol talish shekulei tcheles chayeves betzitzis v'sochak mizeh b'ma shechut echad shal tcheles poite kol hatalis. But it does. That's the point. That's the point. He was making fun of it, but that's the point. That string does pata the beged. That string does allows you to wear the beged if you have the strings on there. You do the strings the right way. And you can have a talis that's all techeles. You still have to put the strings on there. You still have to put the strings on there. You're not going to get away with that. Kiloi hemin shamitzos mekashrin kolay lomos meireshis v'ad achris ad shemalin v'cholin achris bereshis. He didn't understand that how these mitzvahs, all the mitzvahs, are connected down here, up on high, from the beginning to the end, from the end to the beginning. Everything is all connected in the mitzvahs. It's a program. It's a program on how to fulfill the mitzvah. Only if you'll fulfill the mitzvah the way Chazal tell us to do it, are you accomplishing the mitzvah. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Right? You can buy the fanciest beged you want, and whichever one you can have both. There's 2 different types of techelis that we have today. Whatever it is, you can have both of them. But if you don't put the strings on there, it's healthness. It's not going to do anything for you. Asher b'shvil zeh tzrichim l'kayim ha-mitzvah meirosh miyad sof kefi dinah, according to its rules, a pratea and all its nuances, b'shleimas ad sheyagia al yedei ha-mitzvah oira yizbarach, until you do the mitzvah and you have the light, the aura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu upon you. B'bechinas hashkocha shleima. You get a hashkocha shleima. What better thing do you want than to have HaKadosh Baruch Hu's protection? Hashkochas Hashem. You want anything better than that? How do you get hashkochas Hashem? Do the mitzvahs, believe in the mitzvahs. Do mitzvahs, believe in the mitzvahs. And you'll have the light of Hashem. B'bechinas hashkocha shleima sheyeh nichlal ha'olam b'yizbarach b'zeh bechinas klolius achris bereishis. And you'll fulfill the end with the beginning to the end. And it's interesting that we said that tzitzis, if you remember, it says, Re'isa ma'isa yuschartim is kol mitzvahs Hashem. Right? Look at the tzitzis and remember all of the mitzvahs of Hashem. So how do you do that? So remember we learned that. I'll remind you. It's always good to remind. So you take the tzitzis and you have 8 strings on each side, on each corner. So how many strings do you have? You have 32 strings. 8 times 4 is 32. My math is correct, right? 32. 32 is the gematria of lave, right? 32 is lave. Also, 32 is lamed days, right? The last word in the Torah is Yisrael, right? The Torah ends off le'enei kol Yisrael. The last letter, the last word is Yisrael. The last letter in the Torah is Alamed. What's the first letter in the Torah? Beis, Bereshis. So that's how you can fulfill the Achris Bereshis. You can have the end with the Bereshis through your tzitzis, because when you see them, you're holding them, you remember Le'enei Kol Yisrael Bereshis and everything in between. All of the mitzvahs, all of the 613 mitzvahs in between are all in between the Lamed and the Beis. So that's how we understand from this idea with Korach that he was having such a trouble with understanding. Why? Because again, he had kinna. Right? He had kinna, right? Kinna is the worst thing. He had kinna was the worst thing. Not only, there's jealousy and then there's kinna. What's the difference between the two? Jealousy is when a person is jealous, oh, this guy has a nice house, this guy has a nice car, this guy has more money than me, has a better business than me. That's jealousy. But kinna is something where I'm jealous of the person, but I can't even get it myself. I can't get it myself. He had kinna. He couldn't get it, like we explained. Korach, even if he would have won, chas v'sholom if he would have won, but even if he would have won, okay, he could not have become the leader. Someone else would have become the leader. If he proved that Moshe Rabbeinu took it on himself, it was all through Moshe Rabbeinu's doing, that he took it he said, why look, you're the Nasi, you're the king, right? And you made your brother the Kohen Gadol. Oh, pretty good, right? You took your brother, did it? Yeah, you took your brother, right? And so, but he wanted himself, but he wasn't going to be able to get it anyway. But you see, when a person has jealousy, it blinds the eyes. Right? It can blind our eyes. We can't see things correctly. And this is what happened. And it was a terrible thing. It was a terrible, terrible thing that happened. But okay, Baruch Hashem, we have to learn from these things. And we have to be mammon in the leaders of Klal Yisrael. Right? We have to be mammon in the leaders of the Klal Yisrael. And when I say leaders of Klal Yisrael, I don't mean the Rosh HaMemshalah that we have. Okay? There's no mitzvah to believe in this guy. Okay? There's no mitzvah at all. We have to believe in the tzaddikim. We have to believe in the gedolim. We have to believe in the Torah and the Chazal. This is what we have, and Shulchan Aruch. This is what we have to believe in. And if we do, in Mitzvah Hashem, we have the Hashkocha v'Kodesh Baruch Hu upon us. What greater thing is there than to have Hashkochas Hashem upon us? So I think this was a very important lesson. Does anybody have any questions on this? Any comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, the next thing that happened in the parsha was, after this whole thing settled, right, 14,700 people died in this whole thing, plus the 250, all right? A lot of people passed away because of this. There was a plague, right? There was a plague going on. So Moshe Rabbeinu told Aharon to go take the Ketores amongst the people and bring the Ketores amongst the people, and they'll smell the Ketores and they'll help them, will protect them from the Ketores. So you see, the Ketores has 2 properties to it, right? 2 properties. What are the 2 properties? It took the Bechorim, right? Who were the 250 people? These were the Bechorim. These were the firstborn, right? The firstborn was supposed to have all these amazing things happen, but it was taken away from them and was given to Levi instead. Right? The Bechorim was supposed to be the Kohanim. They were supposed to be the teachers. They were the leaders, but they lost it. So these 250 great people, these were Bechorim. So they took, Moshe Rabbeinu said, we'll see who the right one is. You take a fire pan, the copper fire pan, and put the Ketores in there. We'll see what happens. Whoever Hashem chooses will choose. The other ones will get burnt up. And that's what happened. They got burnt up. They all got burnt up. They got burnt up. But really, the fire pans that they got burnt up with, that the fire pans were actually collected, and they were used to make some kind of covering on the kiyar. They were copper. They made some kind of covering over the kiyar, because again, they were used for ketairas. So even though they weren't used in the right way, but okay, you see that's something special for that either way. Okay, however that works out. All right, but now next what happened was, after that, Hashem says to Moshe that everyone, you should collect a stick from each one of the shvatim. Collect a stick from each one of the shvatim, a mata, a stick, and take that stick and take one for Aharon also and write his name on it. Write Aharon's name on it. And put them in the Mishkan, and we'll see in the morning whose stick was chosen. We'll see in the morning whose stick was chosen. Right? So what happened? You know what happened, right? In the morning, Moshe Rabbeinu went in there, and he saw something remarkable. He saw prachim, he saw flowers, and he saw the fruit. What was the fruit? Shkedim, almonds. Now, isn't that very strange? Isn't that very strange? This was not a tree. This was not a plant. This was a stick. This was a stick, right? A stick, a cane. His cane had on a glowing Yud Kei Vav Kei. It had prachim, flowers, and it had on it the shkedim. And then what did Hashem say? Take that and put that in the Aron. Put that in the Aron. People have to remember that. Right, so in the Aron they had the shivrei luchos, they had the mun, right? They had the mun that they put it. There was a jar of mun that stayed in the Aron to remind the people of the nace of the mun, and we also had the stick from Aharon to remind us to keep peace in Klal Yisrael. That Hakadosh Baruch Hu showed that only Aharon, all the other sticks, nothing happened to them. They didn't do anything. They were the same stick they gave them. He got the stick back. Moshe Rabbeinu gave them back their stick. Aaron's stick was beautiful, right? Can you imagine that, Ernie? There were flowers on a stick. On a stick, flowers. Flowers growing on a stick. And not only were flowers, you had almonds growing on a stick. Fascinating. It's amazing. We say it, but if you think about it, it's fascinating. It's mamish fascinating. A piece of wood had on it flowered, and it grew in the natural way. Hashem did it in the natural way, right? The natural way is you first have a flower, the flower falls off, the buds fall off, and then you have the shkedim. So here you had buds, shkedim. Some say that the buds actually were on the floor because the almonds grew, the buds fell off. So Moshe Rabbeinu took the buds, and he took the buds that fell off, and he brought them out with them to show them that there were buds, because they knew they were mamish buds. You know why? They were middle of the desert. Where were they going to get buds from an almond branch, from an almond tree? Where were they going to get them in the desert? What were the people going to say? Moshe Rabbeinu had that. He had a box of these blossoms, these little flowers for the shkedim, from the almonds. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it in such a way that it would be indisputable that Aharon was the chosen one, because again, Aharon stepped away. Aharon said, when they came up against Aharon, he said, you know what? Listen, he never wanted his job. Aharon didn't want his job. He didn't want to be the guy in the Kohen Gadol. That wasn't for him. He said, okay, you want to take the job? Take it. He didn't care. He said, Ma, what do you want from me? Right? Moshe Rabbeinu said, V'anachnu Ma. He said, Ma, the same thing. What do you want from me? I don't even want it. I don't need it. I don't need this. This was the great Aaron HaKoyim. It was Oyev Shalom, Roidev Shalom, Oyev Esabrias, Mekarvet Lebrias HaKadosh Baruch. This was Aaron HaKoyim. Unbelievable. Mamish unbelievable. All right, so after that, there was one more thing in the parsha. And what's the last thing in the parsha? We have the mitzvah of the mitzvah of Terumah, right? We have the mitzvah of Terumah, right? Here it says, Yevadaber Hashem Elohim Ani Nasati L'chaz Mishmeres Terumasai, right? L'chol Kotchei B'nei Yisrael L'chol Nasatim, Right? The Mishkal levanecha lechoik oila. Right? This was the mitzvah of Terumah. It's interesting. The Gemara says Terumah is a hybrid word. Terumah was 2%. What is the? What was the? How do you know that Terumah is 2%? Trey Meya. Terumah. Trey Meya. 2 of 100. 2%. That's how you can always remember. If you remember the amount of Terumah, you always can remember by the word itself is Trey Meya. 2%. All right, that was a separate thing. Okay. You ever hear that before, Yehuda? What?
Yeah.
You did or didn't? What?
Yes, I heard of it.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. Baruch Hashem. We have Rabbi Yehuda concurs. Excellent. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so Rav Nassan says here, Vani hine nasati lechos mishmeres trumasi ki achizas hasitra acher v'ayetz hara hu midinim kiyadua. We know that the achiza, the hold that the sitra acher has the other side, and the yetz hara is all from the dinim. It comes from din. It comes from the left side. It comes from the side of gvura. Right? Sheheim ne'echazim misitra d'smaila come from the left side. It's on the left side. B'chol ha'teira ha'mitzvahs heim levata l'achizas hadinim lahamtik hadin hanechaz b'smal v'achlola smaila b'yamina keyadua. The whole point is to take the right and the left and bring them together. That's the whole point. Right? Achizas hadinim. Right? So what do we want to do? We want to be nechaz b'smal b'achlala b'smal b'yamina keyadua. We want to take the left. We want to include it with the right. Is there goydel malas mitzvah tzedakah shekula b'chol ha'torah kamamar b'seinazal kol ha'maman hu b'chinas small. Right? Ki ha'maman hu b'chinas small. The whole idea of money is on the right, on the left side. What do we say when we take out the Torah? Right? We say that, right? You know those words, right? Right? And then on the left side you have the money. So you see that over there. Ki ha'maman hu b'chinas small. Kishenaitzin tzedakah lani hagun b'tzadik ha'ovid Hashem be'emes shehu kula yamin. So if you take a person that's shomer Torah mitzvahs, an ani, a poor person that's shomer Torah mitzvahs, he fulfills the mitzvahs of the Torah, he serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's on the right side, he's on the Eirich Yamim, he's on the camp of the Eirich Yamim, he's kulai on the right side. Ki Eirich Yamim b'yamina, as we said, the Eirich Yamim is on the right side. Smailai avayadei zeh nichlal small b'yamin. You take the small and you give him the money, so you take the small, and he's the yamin, and you give him the money, so you're taking the small, including the small, the left, together with the right. Make sense? Good? And that's the whole idea of tikkunim. All the repairs that we make when we do our different mitzvahs. We're making repairs. We're always trying to take the din. We're trying to be mamtik the din. We're trying to always sweeten the judgment. That's what we're trying to do. Another thing that I could tell you about this is, when you have your challah on Shabbos, right? Challah, right? Challah? Everyone likes challah, right? Challah is great, right? Okay. So you take your challah. What do you do with the challah? You dip it into salt, right? You dip it into salt. Why do you dip it into salt? The salt is din. Salt is judgment. The challah is chesed. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my chesed and I'm dipping it into the din. I'm taking the right, the chesed, dipping it into to sweeten the judgment. Challah is sweet, nice, delicious. I dip it into the salt because I want to sweeten the judgment. You understand? I want to sweeten the judgment. Some people don't know. They take a salt shake. I've seen that. I try to explain to them. That's not what you don't want to do that. They take a salt shake and they dump the salt on the challah. No. I want to use the challah to sweeten the judgment. I want this judgment to overpower my challah. Chas v'shalom. Right? These are the nuances like we were learning before. There's a way to do things, and you have to follow the chazal. There's a reason for why they tell us how to do things. Right? Shu klal kol tikunim anasim ayidei atayra v'al kein ha'ikar litein tzedakah b'kavona k'dei lizkarei v'lekasher l'tzadikei ha'emes sheheim b'chinas kula yamina. right? So we know v'ameh kulam tzadikim, right? So when you give your money over to someone that's a shomer Torah mitzvahs, and he's going to use the money to buy food for Shabbos, he's going to use the money to be mekadesh shem shemayim. So there you're taking your left, you're taking the money and you're giving it over to the right. You're being mamtik the din. That's how you do that. Kikol ma shatzadik gadol b'yoser hu nichlal b'yamin yad b'yoser. The greater the person is, of course, he's more connected to the right. He's more connected to the side of chesed. Ad sheyesh tzadikim b'nei aliyah shehem masigim ayraisat adatika misesima v'nechlolim sham. You have some tzadikim that they understand the hidden Torah. They understand the secrets of Torah. So they're mamish all the way on the right side. B'sham kula yamina v'lei small tamad. They're all the way on the right, and they have nothing to do with the left. That's why a lot of these tzaddikim don't have money, because they have nothing to do with money. They have nothing to do with the world. They're just all involved in Torah and avodas Hashem. So they have the Eirech Yamim. They have the Eirech Yamim, but they're not connected at all to the small. Kishanoitz in tzedakah letzadikim keilu va'anilvim aleim. When you give the tzedakah to people like that, and those that follow in the ways of the tzaddikim, the chol kavanasei bemis b'shvil kiyam ha'torah kidei likolo b'yamin. And the whole kavanah, the whole intent is that I want to be mekayim the Torah. I want to be connected to the yamin. I want to be connected to the Torah also. Maybe I can't learn all day, but I want to be connected to those people that could learn. That could learn. Is as if you fulfilled the entire Torah. How do you like that? You give your money, right? You want to give your money to worthy people, right? Don't just give your money to anybody. Give your money to worthy people that are going to use that money to be mekadesh shem shemayim. That's going to bring more covet of Hashem, kvod Hashem in the world. How do you bring more kvod Hashem in the world? The more mitzvahs you do, you bring more covet of Hashem in the world. That's what it's all about. So when you do that and you give them money, you're included in their Torah, because you're sustaining them. You're giving them money to sustain them. So now they're learning because they have the vitality for the money that you gave them, that they were able to buy food for, so that they can go on and do more mitzvahs. You're now included in their Torah. You see that in the Torah also. We had Yisachar and Zvulun, right? Yisachar and Zvulun, right? Right? Remember that, right? Yeah, Yisachar was learning. Zvulun was the one going out and making the deals. He was a deal maker, right? But Zvulun had just as much schar as Yisachar had, even though he was out there working. But Yisachar couldn't be learning if he wasn't working. So that's the perfect example of taking the left and including the left with the right. You understand? Got the idea? You got the concept, right? Any questions on that? No questions. Wow, we have an easy group today. Okay. And this, we do have a question. Here we go. Okay.
The left was the one that was learning, is what you're saying. I mean, that was working, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the left is the one that's working, yes.
That was working, okay.
The worker, the money is on the left, right? Money is on the left. The chesed is the Torah learning is on the right, right? Okay. Is on the right. So when you take your money, which is the left, you give it to the right, now you become on the right side as well. How do you like that? Isn't that nice? You get included in the right side. You get the benefits of that. After a person leaves the world after 120 years, and he gave money to good places and good organizations, and he did the right thing, you'll get introduced upstairs to all the things that you were involved with, and you'll say, I had no idea. I don't remember doing any of these things. Yeah, but you gave money to this organization, and they were able to produce these children. They were able to learn, and look what happened. Now you get chelik in that. Wow, isn't that amazing? It's amazing, mamish amazing. The chula yamin shezel klal kol atikunim ve'al kein nismach parsha zois shel nesinas truma umaiser b'chol matnas kahuna leparshas Korach. Now you understand why this is connected, why the Terumah is in this parsha. Why is it connected to Korach? I thought this was so nice. This was the whole mistake of Korach. He was arguing on Aharon. He didn't want Aharon to have the. Well, what do you mean it has to be a Kohen Gadol? We're all Kahanim. Kulam Kedoshim. We're all holy. Why is he better than me? We're all holy. I'm supposed to be the Kohen, he was saying. Me. Right? It's like we said, the communism, right? That everyone's equal except for the leader. He's higher than everybody else. Right? Everyone's equal except for the guy that's running it, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Kuna. He wanted to switch the left with the right. He wanted to make a switch. He didn't want to include it. He wanted to switch it. Kamayt Kodesh Bezayir Kodesh Ki Aaron Haya Kohen Ish HaChesed Bechinas Yamin V'Korach Haya Levi Bechinas Small. Korach was the small. He was the left. He could not be the Kohen. The Kohen has to be the Chesed. He's from the side of Din. You can't be the Kohen. The Chol Tikunai Haya Sheyiyah Nichlal Ba'aron HaKohen. He was supposed to include himself and take care of Aharon. And then he would have included the left and the right. Everything would have been good for him. Everything would have been good for Klal Yisrael. Instead of being this instigator, that he was an instigator instead. That's all the tikkunim. That's how you can make all the tikkunim. All the tikkunim come about this way. When you take the left and you include the left with the right. Every time we give tzedakah and the Terumah, the meiser, and we do the right thing, we give the money to the right people, we're including the left over with the right. The Korach machmas gasusa, because Korach was such an arrogant person. Ratzal is gaber laharon. He wanted to overpower Aharon. Lahagbis small al yamin chas v'sholom. He wanted to put the din on the yamin. He wanted to take the salt and put it on the challah. He was putting the salt on the challah. No, we don't do that. We take the challah and we put it into the salt. We dip it into sweeten the judgment. We don't do that. But this is what Korach was doing. He had no idea what he was doing. But it says, you see the word that he uses? Machmas gasusa, because he was so arrogant, he couldn't see it. He couldn't see it. He was blinded. He was blinded by it. Oy vey. Unbelievable. And therefore he objected to the entire Torah. The whole idea of the Torah is to take the left and include it with the right. He wanted to switch this whole thing around. Therefore, the Torah introduces Terumah. Right, the 24 different matanis that were given to God in the Quran, b'shem Terumah, they're all called Terumah. K'maishe kosa b'tchilas ha'parsha, v'aletzim arba matnas kahuna, v'ani hine nasati l'cho es mishmares Terumosai l'chol kodshai b'nei Yisrael. Harei shekora kol matnas b'shem Terumah. All of the presents that were given to the Kahanim are all named in this way of Terumah. All named in the same idea, ki kol matnais, all of the different presents that were given to the kahuna, right? And there were also 24 different matnas kahuna. There were also 24 different groups of kahanim. Also, it's a whole thing, right? Bechinas Terumah, shayidei zeh merimim kol ha'olam. You're able to lift up the world, the mala ayidei shenichlo small biyamin. When you take the small and you include it in the right. So every time they would give Terumah to the kohen, every time you would give money for the fruits, the vegetable, whatever it is, you would give whatever from your crops. You would give the 2% to the kohen. You would give the presents to the kohen. You were taking the left. You were taking the side of din, the side of money, the side of gvura, and you're taking that and you're giving that to the side of chesed. You're giving it to the side of the kahanim of chesed, ish chesed. Aaron the kohen was known as the ish chesed. That's why the Kahanim give the blessings. The Kahanim are the rightful ones to bless the people, because they are the ones that they are people of Chesed, and therefore they can give the brachas over. That's why we have Birchas Kahanim is through the Kahanim. Ba'yedei shenichnas small b'yamin, ba'yedei zeh nesinas l'koyin, shu b'chinas yamin, giving it over to the koyin, that's yamin. So this is the parsha, pretty much the three main events that happened in the parsha. You had the whole thing with Korach, then you had the idea with the stick we spoke about, that it flowered, and it turned into the almonds. And that was something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you put into the Aron, and that has to be for a remembrance, to remind the people not to argue with Aharon HaKoyin. And remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Aharon. It wasn't he that chose. Anyone that chooses to be the leader by themselves is no leader. They're not a leader. You have to object. They have to object to the leader and take the leadership, but not to want. If you want it, you don't get it. Not like the leaders we have today. The leaders we have today, they want to be leaders. They want their jobs. That's how you know that none of them are any good. None of them are any good. None of them. I don't think the guys in America are good. I don't think... I want you to know, in Eretz Yisrael, the people here are amazing. Our people, all the people are great. The land is awesome. The only thing that's a problem in this country is the government. Get rid of the damn government and everything will be great. The problem is the government. That's all. But why? Because we have a Supreme Court over here that thinks that they have to be secular and they have to go after the secular law. That's the problem, right? That's the whole problem. That's what the problem that we have. It's not. We're not a secular country. This is Eretz Yisrael. This is a country that has to be run by Torah law. And when the land will be run by Torah law, and Mirz Hashem, we'll see Mashiach come. We'll see the Binyan Baya Shlishi, the Karev Mamish B'Yameinu. And we'll see, we'll march with Mashiach Tzidkeinu to Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh together. I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos and a good Chodesh, right? It's Rosh Chodesh to Shabbos, right? This week, this Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos, and Sunday is Rosh Chodesh. So I want to wish you in advance a very good, you should have a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh.